Hello, everyone. Whether you're watching us over coffee, tuning in while on the road, or maybe unwinding with us on Spotify or Amazon Music, thank you guys for tuning in at XRaised, where knowledge meets inspiration in the intricate dance of industry evolution. I'm your host, Miles, here once again at your favorite place for business insights with a pulse and a purpose. And in this episode, we're talking about something that's rarely great in headlines, but is absolutely vital: access to justice, and more specifically, how technology, when designed right, can bridge the gap between legal resources and the people who need them the most. And our guest today, who, by the way, needs no introduction if you've been following the series, but if you're just catching up, you better prepare to be impressed. She's a multi award winning barrister known for fearlessly tackling complex disputes across everything from construction to corporate law. She's also a published author, a lecturer, and a strategic mind who decided that building better access to justice wasn't just a calling, it was her responsibility. She's the co founder and CEO of MiAI Law, a platform changing how lawyers research and deliver their services, not just for the big city firms, but for legal aid orgs, community centers, where a week of research used to mean lost cases and lost clients. Please welcome back the powerhouse of practical progress, Laina Chan. Hi, Laina.
Wow. Great to be here again.
It's always enjoyable hosting you, Lena. Our episode today feels especially meaningful, and I know it's something very close to your heart, using technology for good. So I want to set the food of this conversation on the big picture. How does my AI law address access to justice for underserved communities? I mean, I know we often talk about access to justice like it's a lofty deal, but for so many communities, it's a real daily struggle. So how does
Yes.
my law actively address it for the maybe underfunded groups like rural lawyers, legal aid teams, or maybe community legal centers?
Can I give you a bit of background as to why this is so important to me?
Sure, we would love that.
Okay. So maybe 10 years ago, I was in charge of fundraising for an Indigenous charity and tribal warrior organization in Australia.
Okay.
And for them, I did heaps of grant applications, etc., uh, raising from law firms and other donors. But then I also
Mhm.
raised a lot of money for them from state government, local government, and the federal government, a few $1 million worth. But I didn't think it was the best way of actually helping the Indigenous community because I wasn't always sure that the funds would be used in the way that they were intended. But always, and my husband does a lot of basketball coaching and helping of the Indigenous community and people with disabilities. So for us, it's really important that we give back to the community and we like to help I guess the people not as fortunate as we are.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do at My AI Law is on top of, if you listen to the last episode, then you'll know that what we're doing is increasing productivity and efficiency gains for all lawyers, so that this will mean that lawyers in community organizations who are overworked and under-resourced, if they have access to our product, they can then churn out a lot more work than they would have been able to do without our help.
Yeah.
But on top of that, my AI Law is also setting up a charitable foundation where we're going to invest 1% of equity from our holding company, which is in the Cayman Islands, 1% of all revenue earned into the foundation, plus 1% of all employee time. And that
Uh-huh.
community legal centers or other nonprofits can apply for support so that if they are successful in their application, we will be able to support them by giving them access to our product for free or for a minimal cost, because the
Wow.
cost of the product is not cheap because it's so expensive for us to be able to deliver this product. I mean, it's cheap relative to the output that they get, and it's cheap relative to the cost of hiring a human being to do this work, but it's still,
Mhm.
around We're not sure, but it could be up to $1,000 a month for 20 research reports. And
I see. Well, that's a very incredible backstory right there, Lena. And I mean, about you and your husband. Thank you so much for sharing that. It's a good thing you're leveling up the playing field. I mean, the idea that AI can put knowledge in the hands of those who might have been, left out of the system is more than just innovation. That's inclusion and such a noble work. That's such a powerful reminder, if I must say. Technology can just be for those who can afford it because everyone deserves a shot, especially at justice, not just those with big budgets and even bigger legal teams. And I think now let's talk about the tech itself, Lena. We throw around phrases like, democratizing legal research, but I want us to break it down. What does that actually mean in practice? How does technology play a role in making sure that high quality legal research isn't just for elite firms anymore?
well, because our product, even if it costs somebody $1,000 a month, they are going to be able to produce research reports, 20 research reports. Even if you're doing one, you'll get one in 10 minutes, let's just say.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. It's up to 2 million tokens, each time a research report is being generated. It might take our system 10 minutes. I'm not sure. We're trying to get the times down. But even if you're using OpenAI, you know that those deep research reports can take 10 minutes or more.
Yeah.
But that 10 minutes of work, and we've tried it, we've had to check the outputs. That could take us like 2 days of a lawyer going through and checking that the answers are correct. So if you are able to get 20 research reports, which is, let's say, 20 a month for $1,000, for example, and that is the equivalent of 40 days of work, for example, it could be 40 days of work,
Could be.
then, yeah, it could be. Then, even though you've had to pay that $1,000 for it, that's a fantastic return on investment of time. And so you no longer need to have the really, really deep pockets. The client doesn't no longer have to have the really, really deep pockets to be able to get
To access it.
better quality legal representation.
Mhm.
And I don't know, I told you in the last episode that it really does come down to the lawyer knowing how to use the system to get the best out of it. But assuming that everybody becomes trained up and they realize and they learn how to use these AI tools properly, then there'll just be huge efficiency gains, and the playing field will be leveled out. So it's no longer just those people, the haves and the have-nots. Everybody can subscribe to this and get access to our research tool.
Yeah. So in a sense, you're turning a once elite toolkit, or could be, into an everyday utility. I mean, we democratize maps, banking, and even dating. So why not law, right? And that's why it's great you,
Yes.
you started all this, Lena. And let's be honest, the stakes here are way higher than maybe, picking the wrong pizza joint. I mean, it's
No,
a
I
big
mean, I
thing.
started this because I wanted help with my own grind of being a
Yeah.
barrister, of being able to tap into all the work that I had done in the past and help, because it's just so labor intensive to get the outcomes that the clients need or that I want to deliver to the clients. So I did this for myself, but then now obviously it's taken on a life of its own.
Not for yourself anymore, not just for
Yeah,
yourself,
it's
for
not for
everyone in
myself
the
anymore.
yeah,
Not just for myself anymore.
which is good. Very selfless of you. And on that note, one of the challenges often brought up is that rural law firms or legal aid orgs don't just need tech. They need tech that's intuitive, affordable, and fits into their resource trap reality. So how do you design or maybe scale AI tools so they're actually usable by these legal heroes on the front lines?
Well, our tool is usable by anybody. I mean, it's used by any lawyer. I
Uh-huh.
mean, we're business to business. We're not selling to the consumer.
Yeah.
I can't stop them from buying it, right? It's not like, but it's a business to business tool. We are preparing this product and crafting it for lawyers to be used by lawyers
Uh-huh.
and to help them with their workflow and to help them with the grind of their job. So
Mhm.
anyone can subscribe to us. You just go to our website, miai.law, hit subscribe, enter your credit card details, etc. You get your allocation per month and off you go. And if you use up all your allocation, you can always buy more allocation. But if you really, really, really are cash strapped and you really can't afford to even pay the $1,000 a month, then you can apply to our foundation and to see if you can get
Oh,
support. But we haven't set up the foundation yet
yeah, I
because I don't
haven't
have the
heard about
product
that.
yet. But my product is coming out, will be, available for use in July. So my intention is to set up the foundation from 1 July.
Yeah. Wow, that's gonna be more exciting. So not one size fits all, Lena, but fit for purpose. And I imagine when you're also a solo practitioner, hundreds of say kilometers from the nearest city, having this kind of support is about survival. So this could redefine the viability of
But
small
they need
businesses.
they need internet though. So they need internet and they need a powerful app.
Yeah, of
They
course.
need a laptop that can run AI. Like I know one of my really old MacBook Airs can't run
Oh,
OpenAI,
okay.
etc. So you need to have the technology
Mm-hmm.
at a certain level to be able to run our models. I mean, obviously everything is being run in our service, in our clouds, in our AI service, etc. But your equipment still has to be able to tap into our models,
Mm-hmm.
and you need a stable internet supply.
Okay.
But that's the government's that's the
Will there
government
be
step in,
uh-huh.
and the NBN has to work. But
Yeah. So will there be maybe an app equivalent of this platform maybe anytime soon after launching?
well, no, I mean you can use it on a mobile phone, but we're not
Mhm.
creating an app
And
yet.
yeah, it's much more complicated, I guess, and with the
No, it's
legal.
not much more complicated because in the beginning we just want to get our research tool correct first. We need to make sure that that is reasoning and creating research reports that I am happy with.
Mm-hmm.
That are precise, verifiable, and evidence-based. So everything is
Yeah.
hyperlinked to the pinpoint references in the cases. We're extracting the first principles from the cases and then using all of those to prepare the research report for you. That's the
Yeah.
most important core fundamental proposition offering that we are delivering to our clients. We need to get that right first. So
Yeah.
once we get
Get
that
it
right,
ready.
then we can start building out the other features like preparing chronologies,
Uh-huh.
helping you prepare your letters, etc.,
Mhm.
and helping you, increasing our reach into the workflow of the
Uh-huh.
lawyer. But the most fundamental problem, we have to solve the fundamental problem first. We're solving it for Australia. And then as soon as we've solved that, we're going to be doing UK law, Singapore law, Hong
Mm-hmm.
Kong, Indian law, Canadian law, New Zealand law, the Commonwealth jurisdictions. We're going
Yeah.
to do all that first because
Uh-huh.
once we've solved that problem for Australia, it shouldn't be very hard for us to then
The
solve the
scale.
problem for all other Commonwealth
Yeah.
countries. And
Mm-hmm.
then at the same time, our team can start building out the features so that we then, increase our reach into the maybe the full chain
Yeah.
of the
Scale.
lawyer's workflow.
Mm-hmm. And of course, it has to get going and be approved by an award-winning barrister before you get it out and used by
Yes, I have to peer review it. That's right. And I'm also, yes, that's right.
uh-huh. And going back, that's such an overlooked point. It's not about building shiny tools, it's about meeting people where they are. And I remember we've tackled a bit about this, but I'd like us to, bust some myths here, Lena. There is a common fear that bringing AI into legal aid might mean fewer jobs for lawyers. But is that actually what's happening? Or are we
Legal
making your
aid,
story?
legal aid.
Yes.
You mean legal aid organizations that are serving the community? You mean
Yeah.
you
Like,
mean
I
that
mean,
kind of legal aid?
do you think there are misconceptions about tech replacing legal aid lawyers?
No, there is such a shortage of legal aid lawyers that there's
Okay.
totally overworked and under-resourced that bringing tech to help them can only help them with their job and being able to deliver the services that they need to deliver to their clients. So there's a huge, demand for legal aid lawyers, both from their clients' perspective, and they're totally under-resourced. So this can only help them help them do their job and reduce their grind and their burnout.
Yeah, right. So legal aid gets the help they need for them to get to be more efficient, and that hits the nail on the head. Tech doesn't want ever replace empathy. In this case, it doesn't argue your case or whatsoever. It just gives you the groundwork faster so you can do the real work better, I guess.
Well, I think that's what non-lawyers do not understand. That non-lawyers really underestimate the value that we can bring. Not all lawyers may bring this value, but the
Mhm.
good ones really bring a lot of value to their clients. They bring their experience and their judgment and their empathy, etc., to the table when they are serving their clients. AI doesn't do that. And justice is not just about mechanical efficiency, but it's about empathy, experience, lawyers bringing the experience to how they frame the solution for their clients. So AI simply can't do this by itself. And don't forget that AI has been developed by human beings, they're controlled by human beings. It's not
Right.
like in a movie where the AI is suddenly going to go to run off,
Hmm.
take over the world. This is
Yeah,
not a movie set.
I agree. And well said. And
Yeah.
finally, let's fast forward 5 or maybe 10 years, Lena. In your vision, this is one of my favorites. How could AI help close the justice gap long term? I mean, what would a truly equitable legal future look like with the right tools and mindset in place?
Sometimes, or a lot of the times, for example, in a piece of litigation, it's sometimes the facts win by themselves, but for but then sometimes they don't. Sometimes it's your lawyer that helps you win your case. And
I
in
agree.
those cases, often it's the client which has the deepest pockets that can afford the best legal representation that will have the best chance of winning their case because, they've been able to run the cleverest arguments, be totally resourced, etc. But in the future, if AI can be incorporated effectively into the legal workflow at a cost that is relatively very low compared to the human cost of having the equivalent service,
Mhm.
then those clients which do not have as deep pockets as the clients with the deepest of pockets, the knowledge gap might be bridged so that it's not just the clients with the deepest pockets that can have the best legal representation.
Mhm. Mhm.
And that if the knowledge gap is bridged, then maybe it might lead to less disputes, less exploitation of the underrepresented or the less well represented client.
Mhm. Good point. And that's the kind of vision that gives purpose to code, Lena. At the end of the day, it's not just about how powerful the AI is, I guess. It's about how much more human it allows us to be in terms of time, attention, service, and experience. And I think today we've all gotten a crash course in what ethical tech leadership looks like. Legal innovation shouldn't just serve those who can afford it. It should empower those who can't do without it. And you have taught us that it's about equity, amplifying voices, supporting the unsung heroes of the legal world, and ultimately ensuring justice doesn't come with an exclusive price tag. So,
Yes.
uh,
But I think everyone has to remember that AI is not here to replace human beings. You cannot just rely on the AI without checking the work, at least now, because the accuracy is just not there. You
mhm,
cannot. You cannot do
yeah,
that. You would be negligent as a lawyer because you should treat the AI as your junior lawyer. You should supervise the AI the way you would supervise your junior lawyer. Are you just going to blindly trust everything your junior lawyer says with their minimal experience just to always get the answer right? You
yeah,
wouldn't. You shouldn't. And
right.
so then with AI, you should treat your AI like you would treat your paralegal or your junior lawyer and check their work.
Hmm. And I guess that's what everyone, or at least most of us, would like to hear, Lena. So thank you so much again for sharing your vision, your grit, and that signature clarity that makes our episodes so rewarding every time.
Thank you, Miles. Always a pleasure.
Thank you, Laina. The pleasure is all mine. Thank you so much. Whether you're a lawyer, a policy advocate, or someone who's just passionate about access and equity, Laina and her team are building something you'll want to keep an eye on. So go check out myai.law or check the description below. And to you watching or listening, thank you for making space for deeper conversations. Better hit that subscribe button and keep X-rays on your radar because the future doesn't just happen. We build it together. And Laina and I will absolutely see you in our next one. This has been your host, Miles. Stay focused and inspired with X-Rays.